So this is like
We got a ton of new info on Ghost
details
of
and
Tsushima that
stuff.
got me way more excited. From new details on
This is
the
gonna be
open
detailed.
world, combat, and how much freedom you have in the main story. But we
This is
also
gonna be
learned more
details.
about some of the new features like the Wolf Companion and the Disarm mechanic. So let me talk you through everything. And one of the exciting new details we learned is regarding the structure of Yotei's story, as we finally have a
Yotei
better
is just like
understanding of how
Ghost
open
of
the main
Tsushima,
quest
like,
is going to be. My
the same way, like,
original understanding
same
was
way,
that
like,
you'd be
this
able
was
to
like
go
made
after
for like,
Yotei 6, so
look,
the main bad guy
this is
in
a
this new
character
story in
from
any order.
Sekiro.
That is in fact not
Why are
the
they like
case.
repeating
Sucker Punch believes
characters?
that a proper structure
I saw
for
a character I
story
saw in
is too
Sekiro right now.
important,
Hold
which
on.
I
Check.
fully
Child saw like a character like I saw in Sekiro. Why? Why like they're like repeating like characters and stuff? They like repeat like characters. This character right here. This character right here.
agree with, by the way. So
Not
that
this.
means there is a set beginning,
Not
middle,
this.
and
There's a character
end.
like
But
I
as
saw right here.
creative director Jason Connell
He's on
noted
Sekiro.
on the Friends Per Second podcast, the opening third of the game will offer players more freedom and gives you a choice on which of the available targets you want to pursue. So that is what I
character
think
is
they
on
were
Sekiro.
showing in the state of play, but it seems
No.
like Sucker Punch is keeping the other
This
two-thirds
character
of the game under
is on
tight
Sekiro.
wraps. We might see a shift in Atsu's quest for vengeance after a major discovery,
Well, I think
which
I need
then
to, like, go
sets us
back.
on a more linear story path more similar to the
I think I need to,
original
like,
game.
I think-
As always,
hold
your
on.
theories are more than welcome, so feel
This
free to
character.
share them in the comments below. What I also found interesting is that
So game developers right now always like copy each other. No one is like trying to like make something so new, something different. Repeating like every single thing. Repeating like every single thing. Like that's pretty bad, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That's very, very bad. Repeating every single thing. Trying to like copy each other. Game developers, please, please. Try to like create something new. Don't be in a competition. Try to like create something new that is good. People are gonna love. Don't like be in a competition with any developer or any company or any single thing. Just do your thing. Don't copy anything. Just do your thing.
while Hokkaido is a much bigger island than Tsushima, the game's story will be of similar length. Jason Connell told VGC that the length of the game will be similar to the original, but the runtime will be filled with more varied activities and will heavily depend
So you can see it was copied, Chai. As you can see, it was copied. The game was copied. It was copied from like Toshima.
on the player. According to How Long to Beat, that means the critical path will take players about 25 hours, which I think is a nice sweet spot, and 60 hours to do everything in Tsushima. I'm personally expecting even more for Yotei, as the Sony sequels we've seen this generation have significantly expanded their offering of side content and their map size. I also think it's interesting that Jason mentions more of
The map in Ghost of Tsushima is freaking crazy. So large. It's so freaking large. For real. It's so freaking large. Most times it just get boring. It just get freaking boring.
varied activities, as it seems to be a big focus for Sucker Punch in both main and side content. Next to there being new additions like Sumi-E painting and the coin-flicking minigame Zenny Hajiki, returning activities have been touched up for the sequel as well. During the FPS podcast, Connell mentioned that they've made different versions of things like the Bamboo Strike challenges to make sure that each one feels unique and to avoid the experience of doing the same thing over and over again. One part where I feel Tsushima already nailed this is in the side stories with characters like Lady Masako and Sensei Ishikawa. We have not seen these in action yet for the sequel, but Yotei should still include a ton of side missions like this, and some of these will feature the new weapon senseis. We now learned that they
I think they could have made this. I think they could have made this like Assassin's Creed Shadow. I think this is what they were supposed to do. They could have made this like Assassin's Creed Shadow, because Assassin's Creed Shadow, there's like two characters inside the game, and two of them there are two protagonists inside the game, and I think the game is really interesting. I haven't played Assassin's Creed Shadow, but from my review, what I watched on YouTube, the games I watch, it's so freaking amazing. I'm not gonna lie. You feel me? I'm not gonna lie. I think they should have made these as um Assassin's Creed Shadow, like making the like adding the female character to the male character to help Ghost of Tsushima or something. I think that's what they're like supposed to do. Than doing this, it is not like making sense. It's not giving. It's not giving at all. It's not giving at all. It's not giving at all. I'm not gonna lie. It's not giving at all.
Actually are the key to gain access to the new weapon types, even though the state of play seemed to imply that going after specific members of the Yotei 6 would reward you with a new weapon. So for example, we see Master Enomoto in the state of play, who has a little bio that tells us that he's a one-man army and an expert with the Kusarigama, yet there's a loneliness in him that I understand all too well. By doing missions for him, he will teach us to better use the Kusarigama, and we can also see he has new techniques to teach us. And as you might have guessed from that bio, we are also discovering parts of his story and will build a relationship with him, likely similar to the side characters of Tsushima, but now we are of course rewarded with new weapon types or brand new moves. You can definitely expect a video on
These like comes to like something I'm trying to say. These not like comes to like something I'm trying to say. Like, she is supposed to be like a side character in Ghost of Tsushima. The way Assassin's Creed Shadow is. It's like very simple. This is how it's like supposed to be. This is how this is supposed to be. It's supposed to be like a side character. For real. I don't know. Well, I think it's supposed to be like a side character. To make like, let's say like Ghost of Tsushima, like they could like rename it. Or you know the way they have Assassin's Creed Marriage, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. These like this is what they're supposed to do. Add her as a side character. The way Assassin's Creed Shadow is, it will be so freaking interesting. It will be like so freaking interesting.
that when the game releases, so subscribe if you haven't already, and if you are a subscriber, you can also enter our giveaway for the digital deluxe edition of the game. A link to that will be in the pinned comment. And now that we are on the topic of weapons, we also learned some very interesting new details regarding combat. I think a lot of people are underestimating how much the disarm mechanic is going to change up combat, so let me explain. In an interview with Games Radar, creative director Nate Fox mentioned fighting on top of a bridge and having to use an enemy's disarmed weapon because your own was knocked over the ledge. While I had my doubts after the gameplay demo, as we only saw Atsu pick up a spear to throw it, this does make it sound like you'll actually be able to fully use any weapon you take off an enemy. This quote also raises a question, because how will we be able to retrieve our weapons that fall from the top of a mountain? No info on that yet, but the overall concept is very interesting, I think. Losing access to a weapon basically means you can't use a certain stance anymore, so you temporarily lose a specific tool that you can use to counter particular enemies. And while it is true that the new weapons you can swap between are replacing the katana stances from Tsushima, expanding is actually a better word for it. There is still a counter system in place where the Odachi is good against brutes and the dual katanas are good against spears, for example. But each weapon will also offer benefits and techniques, like using the weighted ball on a Kusarigama chain for an AoE attack, or using the length of a spear to push an enemy off a cliff. So while you are encouraged to switch up to counter enemy weapon types, you now also have to consider how many enemies you are facing and in what location when deciding what weapon you want to use.
I think they made her like have some like good fighting skills more than Ghost of Tsushima. I think these were like I'm saying they're supposed to like add that, because you know in Assassin's Creed Shadow the female protagonist has like more fighting skills more than the male protagonist. So I think this is what they're supposed to do. These were like they were supposed to do, but I think she has like a good fighting technique more than Ghost of Tsushima. This is what I still saw right here. Feel me?
We haven't even talked about ranged weapons.
These were like they were supposed to do, but I think she has like a good fighting technique more than Ghost of Tsushima. This is what I still saw right here. Feel me?
We haven't even talked about ranged weapons yet, like we learned that the rifle is very powerful but will obviously alert enemies in a wide radius. So yeah, safe to say combat is looking even more dynamic than it did in Tsushima. And the stance system is not the only major mechanic from the first game that has been overhauled, as the guiding winds have also seen a small but very welcome change for the sequel.
Density is a tool to record your DJ set and master it after. Density connects to DJ decks to record a set, rather than record.
As noted by Jason Connell, now we actually have a little bit of a system to help guide around some of the major obstacles to make it a little bit more of an improved experience for such a vast world. In case you don't remember, the guiding winds in Tsushima pointed in a straight line towards your objective, but did not consider obstacles like mountains or the sea. But in the sequel, they will guide you around them so you can more easily reach your objective. We also received confirmation that the songs you play on your shamisen while camping will help the winds guide you towards specific objectives in the open world, like the bamboo challenges, onsen, or even brand new cosmetics. We of course know that armor dice are back in this game, and it seems that we have to look for flowers again to unlock them. We see that in the footage here just before another cool new feature, as running alongside these flower trails actually boosts your speed. And we now also learned that following these should take you to interesting new locations, continuing the trend of having nature guide you in exploration. And while there are many clues you can collect through interrogating enemies or buying maps, Sucker Punch notes that this info is only there to help you find the interesting things. In case of a bounty, for example, it will tell you the last known location of a target, and from there you might have to figure out where they went. But that bounty target is already in the world, meaning you don't need to accept it as a quest and can just run into that enemy by accident if you're simply out exploring. During the FPS podcast, Nate Fox also mentioned that foraging for food is also part of the game, likely tied to the meals you can cook at your campfire. Not sure if there are different meals for different effects, but one interview mentioned an extra spirit orb as a benefit for eating a meal. In case you need a refresher on that, spirit is the new name for resolve from Tsushima, so the resource used to power your abilities and healing. Some more interesting things we learned are regarding the bounties, as while you can collect bounties on criminals, Atsu herself will also have a bounty on her head that gets higher as she makes more of a name for herself. This will start introducing new enemy archetypes.
That was like real. No matter how good you are, no matter how like being a hero, enemies are gonna put bounty on you. Like, and if anyone gets you, the person takes the money. That's real. That's real. Not cap. That's real.
And new types of traps and ambushes, which sounds kind of similar to how the Mongol army got stronger as you move through the different regions of Tsushima Island. The wolf is also an element that still has some mystery to it, but we did learn that it will be our primary animal companion. I know that awesome shot with the bear led to some speculation, but it doesn't look like we get to keep that one as a pet. And the wolf isn't exactly a pet either, as Sucker Punch clarified that it is definitely a wild creature. It will show up in some missions and it won't as well, because it won't just come because you call it in any random situation. That does still leave me with a ton of questions, but it does confirm they're not going for a Kratos and Atreus or Joel and Ellie approach with this companion. And while technical details will come at a later date, we do know Sucker Punch is working on extra enhancements for the PS5 Pro. They're also really vocal about how much they loved working with the DualSense controller, so I'm expecting some fun stuff with the haptics and the adaptive triggers here as well. But of course, the main way they are flexing the power of the PS5 is the new flashback mechanic, where you can instantly jump between past and present to learn more about Atsu's story. Nate Fox actually explained the mechanic to Game Informer, saying the following: there are a few places in the world that have a lot of memories for Atsu. When you go to these locations, you can hit a button and instantly be transported to the past. You control young Atsu in these locations and you can go back and forth as much as you want. So that does confirm it is only accessible in certain locations, but it is still a very important feature. Atsu's story starts out driven by revenge because of her past, so in order to understand that feeling, it's very important we also see that past, and this is a really cool way of doing that. Let me know what you're most excited about in the comments, and remember to subscribe to not miss our next Ghost of Yotei video. Leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and watch our breakdown of
This was amazing. I'm not gonna lie. It was amazing. I'm not gonna lie. It was like so amazing. I'm not gonna lie. For real. It was amazing. She has like more fighting skills, like more weapons and stuff. Like, yeah, like it's cool. Like the comment section's like saying that